Hey everyone, we're going to get started in just a minute here. Just wanted to mention again, if your microphone is on for this meeting, if you could find the microphone icon and click it off, that'd be very helpful for us. That way there's only one audio source coming here. Welcome to our practice, and we're really excited to be sharing some online content with you. It feels pretty cool to do it live because we're all in this together in our own little hub or bubble, but we still get to practice together, so I think that's a really cool thing. For tonight's practice, if you don't already have some props prepared, it might be useful to have pillows and blankets. Typically when we're in the studio, we utilize bolsters, but pillows are just as good. Also, blankets would be utilizing those in place of some blocks tonight. So if you don't already have those things, or if you don't have your yoga mat or your water, go ahead and take a minute to go and gather those things. Yeah, do it. And
did you mention playlists?
No, I didn't. Go for it.
Awesome. And so since we will be live streaming these classes, we're recording them as well. So then once they're streamed, we'll put them up onto YouTube later for people who aren't, who don't have the access to live stream with us. So if you are watching this on YouTube or with us in person, get your playlist queued up. And then once the class begins, just start your playlist. It should have been sent to you in the email that you received. If not, it's linked in the section below for the video. And then you can listen to some wonderful tunes while we practice together.
Yeah, because my voice only goes so far, and it really helps set the mood having the correct music playing with us. So, of course, you can just listen to my voice, but it's always nice to have a little bit of music to go along with our yoga practice. So hopefully by now you already have your blankets, your pillows, water, or a place to practice your yoga. If you are sitting on a couch somewhere, you can also do this practice with visualizations, and the power of our mind can be a very effective tool for that as well. For our practice tonight, we'll be focusing a lot on our neck and shoulders, also addressing our inner and outer hips. A lot of us in kind of stressful or tense times, or if we don't get as much physical activity as we do normally, we start to hold tension up into our neck and shoulders, or if you're holding a cell phone for hours at a time, like I am currently, it's always nice to get a little relief for our neck and shoulders. So we'll be addressing that tonight. And if you've been doing a lot of sitting, like I have been, like Taylor has been, we'll also be doing some hip strengthening and outer hip and inner hip flexibility as well. So again, if you're just joining us, please mute your audio. That's very helpful to us. And we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Kevin, and this is Taylor. We're here at Soul 19, and we're very excited to lead you through this long, slow, deep practice. You can expect to have a bit of breath to movement, but most of our practice today will be long holds, focusing on allowing breath and time and gravity to do the work. So if you haven't already, go ahead and make your way to your mat. I will do my best to verbally cue you through this practice so that you have to look at your screen as little as possible. Something about having to look over constantly while doing our practice can take away from it. So again, use your intuition, do your best to follow along with my verbal cues, and then look at the camera if you need to. Anyway, super stoked that you're here tonight. Thanks for joining us, and let's get started. Taylor's going to begin her practice in a seated position. I might recommend utilizing a blanket or a pillow to sit on top of. Something that's really useful in having a comfortable seat is to make sure that your spine is supporting you. If you come into a seat and your lower back is rounding backwards, a lot of our back muscles have to do the work. So finding a seat that pops your hips up and allows for forward hip rotation, allows for a little bit more curvature in your lower back. So once you have found your way into your comfortable seat, rest your hands on your knees or your thighs. Lengthen your spine and relax your shoulders. And just take a moment to fully land in your practice. First, notice the environment around you. Notice the temperature of the air. Notice the texture of whatever it is that you're sitting on. And start to draw your attention to the movement of your breath. If you happen to be new to practicing yoga, it might be useful to rest one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. Just begin noticing what part of your body it is that you're breathing into. Is it your belly? Is it your side ribs? Is it your chest? To begin our breath practice, we'll breathe into each part individually, and then we'll attempt to connect all three parts, belly, ribs, and chest, and create a fluid breath. Let's just begin with 3 cleansing breaths. Breathe as deep as you can in through your nose and out of your mouth. Again through your nose, out of your mouth. One more time, full breath in. Full breath out. Now, as we continue breathing, in and out of your nose or your mouth is good. But let's start to direct our breath into our belly or into our diaphragm. So first, fill your belly with as much air as you can. Notice that your diaphragm expands downwards towards your pelvic floor. Exhale out of your belly, and notice your diaphragm retracts back up towards your lower ribs. Inhale again, fill your belly as much as you can. A little bit of discomfort is normal. And exhale out of your belly. Let it retract back up towards your lower ribs. One more time, deep belly breath in. Let it expand. And exhale out of your belly. Let your diaphragm retract back up towards your lower ribs. This time, fill your lower ribs. Inhale, fill. Notice that your ribs want to pull out to the sides of the room. And exhale out of your ribs and let them knit back together towards the center. Again, fill your ribs with air. Let them expand outwards towards the sides of the room. And exhale out of your ribs. Let them knit back together. One more time. Inhale, fill your ribs. Let them pull out, out, out. And exhale, let them knit back together. This time, fill your chest. Inhale, fill. Let your chest expand. Notice that it wants to lift a little bit at the top. And exhale out of your chest. Let it fall. Beautiful. Inhale, fill your chest. Out of your chest, exhale. One more time. Deep chest breath in. And chest breath out. Just be here for a moment. If you need to shift around to release any tension from your body, we will continue our 3-part breath. And we'll start to address the part that feels most resistant to breathing. If it's difficult to breathe into your belly or if it's difficult to breathe into your chest, we'll start to breathe into that space specifically. So first, getting into our 3-part breath. Exhale all of your air. Inhale, fill your belly, fill your side ribs. Fill your chest as much as you can. And exhale out of your chest, out of your side ribs, and out of your belly. Try to press every bit of air out. Inhale, fill your belly, fill your side ribs, fill your chest. And exhale out of your chest, out of your side ribs, out of your belly. Now for this next breath, notice which part feels most difficult to breathe into. Inhale, fill your belly, fill your side ribs, fill your chest. Notice the part of resistance. And exhale out of that part specifically, breathe out of the place of resistance. Now hone in on the place of resistance, and for 3 more breaths, fill that space specifically. Fill up, fill, 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 and exhale out. Completely until there's no air left. Press, 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 press. 2 more on your own. Last round. Beautiful. And just continue breathing deep and thorough. If you're comfortable blinking your eyes open, feel free to do so, or if you'd rather keep your eyes closed, that's great too. We'll start with a little bit of movement, connecting breath to movement. As you inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Reach as far as you can upwards and outwards. Exhale, turn your palms downward and release your hands back down to the sides. Beautiful. We'll just continue that a few more times. Inhale, sweep out and up. Reach as far as you can without holding too much tension in your neck or your shoulders. And exhale, hands flip back down to the sides. Let's just go for 2 more rounds. Inhale, sweep out and up, like you're drawing an imaginary circle of love and abundance around yourself. And exhale, hands back down. Beautiful, everyone. Last round. Inhale, sweep out and up. Take an extra sip of air at the top. Get as tall as you can. And exhale, return your hands back down. This time, tent your fingertips on the floor, palms off of the mat. Inhale, press down to lengthen your spine as tall as you can. And exhale, dip left ear to left shoulder. Keep your spine as straight as you can. The only thing we want curving over here is our neck. Keep it here for a moment. Keep pressing your fingertips down into the floor. And imagine that you're drawing circles on a mirror in front of you, or maybe giving Eskimo kisses to someone that you haven't seen since we've been in quarantine. And you're just drawing circles here, increasing the range of motion, maybe getting a little bit larger with your circles. And then at 12 o'clock, at the top of your circle, just reverse directions. Still with left ear to left shoulder, you're just drawing circles in opposite directions. If there are any pops or cracks that come up, that's completely normal. Inhale, bring your head back to center, lengthen your spine. And just to reset, tuck your chin towards your chest, look down towards your belly button, and shake your head no. Inhale, bring your head back to center, lengthen your spine, and exhale, right ear to right shoulder. Again, try to keep your spine as straight as possible. Press your sit bones down into whatever it is that you're sitting on. And start with a few nose circles or Eskimo kisses. Maybe making those Eskimo kisses a little bit larger. And then at the top of your circle, reverse directions and go the opposite way. Inhale, bring your head back to center. And exhale, tuck your chin to your chest. Shake your head no. Inhale, head back to center, sit tall. And exhale, gaze over your left shoulder as far as you can. And a slow and deep nod, yes. And then shake your head no, gazing a little bit further over your shoulder. Inhale, bring your head back to center. And exhale, look over your right shoulder. Again, nod your head yes. And shake your head no, just slow. Good. Inhale, bring your head back to center. And again, tuck your chin towards your chest. Now let's bring our hands to our knees. Do a few rounds of seated cat-cow together. Yeah, if you need to switch out your legs, if your knees are getting tired, feel free to. Good. Comfort's the name of the game when we're moving slow. All right, with your next inhale, pull your belly forward and draw your shoulder blades back. Gaze upwards towards the ceiling. And exhale, arch your back, round chin towards your chest. Try to look at your own belly button. Inhale, belly forward, shoulders back. Lift your bottom jaw up towards the ceiling. And exhale, tuck chin to your chest, round your spine. Good. One more time. Inhale, belly forward, shoulders back. This time, reach your bottom jaw upwards. Jut it out. It's not an attractive look, but thankfully no one can see us except for Taylor. She's on the spot here. Stay for an extra breath. Reach your chin a little bit higher. And exhale, draw chin towards your chest, round your spine. That's a great way to loosen up any stuff that we might have in our throats. Inhale, come back to center. Draw hands to heart center. And let's take a moment to set an intention for our practice. What is it that you need right now? Is it something that you need emotionally? Is it something that you need physically? Maybe you need community right now, and that's why you're joining our practice. Maybe you need physical movement. That's why you're here. Maybe you need peace of mind. But hone in on what it is that you need for your practice and begin embodying that intention as if you had already completed it. What is this sense of feeling? And how does it make you feel more complete? Take a full breath into your heart. Let it fill every cell of your body with this intention. And exhale out of your mouth. Let your intention be received by the cosmos. Bow your forehead to fingertips. Thank yourself for making time for your practice today. Good, and let's get out of seated position. We've been here for very long. Let's move our way into tabletop position. Go ahead and come to all fours. Again, we really want to thank you for joining us in practice tonight. We're stoked to be here with you. So let's come to tabletop. Bring your wrists under your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. And just begin with 30 seconds or so of moving however your body wants to move. And if you need to grab a drink of water or adjust any props or hair or anything else, now is a great time for it. If you are freestyling on your mat right now, I recommend just with your eyes closed, don't look at the camera, just see where it is that your body is speaking to you today. Is it your neck, your hips, your shoulders, your wrists, your ankles? What is your body saying? Where does it need a little extra attention? And once you've done a check-in, let's come back to neutral spine. Go for a quick wrist stretch. Spin your fingertips backwards, let your wrists face forwards, and begin to take some circles with your torso, with your shoulders and your hips. Just move in circular motions. Now, for those of you, or those of us, rather, I have tight wrists as well. If you have tight wrists, maybe bring more weight into your legs and less into your arms so that we can alleviate some of this tension. Now, a little bit of discomfort within our practice tonight is encouraged, but never any pain. So if you feel like you need to skip or modify any poses, please feel free to. Let's now spin around to the backs of our hands. Fingertips still face towards knees, just on the backs of hands now. I'll recommend bringing a generous bend into your elbows so that we're getting a good stretch, but we're not holding any unnecessary tension or pain. And again, just take some movement forward and back or side to side. Hi, Katie, thanks for joining us tonight. And make sure we're not holding any breath here. It's easy to start holding our breath. Good, and then unwind your hands. We'll set up for a quick threaded needle, starting with our right arm. Inhale, sweep your right arm to the sky. Take some movement with your wrist, elbow, and shoulder. Spirit fingers, jazz hands, spice up your life with a little bit of spice in your wrist. And then thread your right arm through your left side body. Come on down to your right shoulder. And reach it as far through as you can to the left side of the room. And I'll recommend teeter-tottering forward and back for just a moment until you find that angle in your shoulder that your body says, ooh, that's the spot. When you find that spot, start to sink in, not by forcing it though, but by surrendering. One of the key aspects of our practice not only in our long, slow, deep practice, but in our yin practice, is addressing the fascia of our body, the joints, the tendons, the ligaments. It is required that our muscles are softening and surrendering in order to address the joints, the tendons, and the ligaments in our body. So see if for the last 2 breaths that we're here, can you disengage to make this a deeper stretch? Let's take 1 full breath together into the right shoulder and out of your mouth. Bring your left hand back under your left shoulder. Inhale, sweep your right arm to the sky. Again, a little bit of spirit fingers here. Ooh-wee. And then release your hand to the floor. Beautiful. Inhale, sweep your left arm to the sky. I wonder how that sounded on the microphone. And then give it a little bit of movement. And then thread your left arm through right side body. Thanks, Carrie. I think I got your feedback there. It sounded good. Yeah. And then again, just shift forward and back or side to side and take a moment to notice which angle in your shoulder feels the most sensitive or the most talkative. And rather than going into the easiest part of your shoulder, go towards the part that's really talking to you in this moment. And a lot of our poses that we'll do tonight, maybe you'll start with an active body, but as time goes by, let's see if breath by breath, we can begin to disengage our muscles. Breathe into the back of your left shoulder. Last 2 rounds. Really breathe deep, people. Let's do this. One more time. Fill up. Set up to unwind, right hand under shoulder. Inhale, sweep your left arm high. Spirit fingers, give them a wave, Tay. Ooh-wee, and release your hand to the floor. Excellent. We'll go through a few rounds of cat cow now. Round cow. Inhale, drop your belly to the floor, lift your chin to the sky, rotate your shoulders back and your hips up. Exhale, arch your back, round chin into your chest. Gaze at your own belly button as best you can. Beautiful. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your chin. Try rotating your hips up another ½ inch. And exhale, arch your back, round chin into your chest. Press your hands downwards as deep as you can into the floor. Last round. Inhale, belly down, shoulders back, send your gaze up, hips up. Good. And exhale, arch your back, round chin into your chest, round your spine. Inhale, come back to neutral spine. And we're setting up for our first yin posture, which is melting heart or playful dog. So Taylor's just going to walk her hands all the way forward and keep hips aligned over knees here. Attempt to melt your heart towards the back of your heart towards the floor. Now, if you want to intensify this, try sending your gaze between your hands. If you want even more, you can even raise up to your fingertips, which requires a little bit of activation. We're only holding this pose for about 6 breaths, 50 seconds or so. Send each breath into the back of your heart. And with each exhale, imagine the back of your heart is melting towards the earth, just a hair deeper. Inhale, fill your heart with air. And let it melt to the floor. Again, fill up. And melt down. Last 2. Last 1. slow and controlled. Walk your hands back up to your torso and come into embryo pose. Bring your knees and your feet together. If you have a hard time bringing your hips to your heels, it might be wise to put a blanket underneath the back of your knees. So Taylor, just for the sake of showing them, would you mind throwing the blanket underneath the back of your knees, just in case we have people wanting to modify here? That'll give us a little extra cushion room to bring hips to heels. And here again, we'll breathe into the back of our heart. We just went into a deep heart opening, and now this is a bit of a back of heart opening, the opposite side. We'll utilize what we call kumbhaka breathing or breath retention. So inhale, fill the back of your heart with air. Take 3 extra sips of air. Hold for 2, 1. Exhale out. Press, press, press until there's no air left. We'll do that 3 more times. Inhale, fill the back of your heart. Take 3 sips of air. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2. Exhale out of your forehead into the earth. Breathe out. Let your thoughts go into the earth. Inhale, fill the back of your heart. Take 3 sips of air. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4. Embrace any discomfort that comes up and breathe out of your forehead into the mat. Breathe out all of your thoughts down into the earth. Let them go. Press, 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 press. Last breath, fill up. 3 sips of air, as deep as you can. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Out of your forehead into the earth. Go. Press out. Press, 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 press. Regular breath in. Regular breath out. Beautiful. Hopefully you haven't fallen asleep on me. I know this is a relaxing breath work. But let's come into tabletop position. If there are any props with you right now, you can just place them off to the side. We're making our way into our first downward facing dog, so take your time to get there. Don't worry, we're not going to be here for too long. If you're like, oh man, I'm feeling so chill, don't worry, we've got some more chill postures headed this way. But bear with us for the next 5 or so minutes. I'd like to go through a little bit of warm-up so that we can get our body engaged and flexible so that we can address some of the deeper corners of our body. Let's take a full breath in through your nose. Out of your mouth. Inhale, look between your hands. And exhale, find your way to the top of your mat. We'll start in a ragdoll variation. Bring your feet wider than hip distance apart. Sometimes even mats with distance is good. But I want you to bend your knees until your chest can rest on your thighs. Your knees might have to be very bent, and that's okay. But try to let the back of your neck hang. Let it disengage. Let your head hang like a cannonball. That's not the best reference, but you get what I'm saying. And then let's take this for a gentle twist. Straighten your right leg and bend your left knee. Dip your left elbow towards the floor as you rotate your right elbow towards the front of your mat. Gaze underneath your right armpit upwards towards the ceiling. Now take 2 breaths into your right side body. One more time. Try to lighten the grip on your toes. Come back to center and we'll just switch it out. Straighten your left leg, bend your right knee. Beautiful smile. Dip your right elbow towards the floor and rotate your left elbow towards the front of the room. 2 deep breaths into the left side. Last round. Inhale, bring yourself back to center. And exhale, release your hands to the floor. Now, toe heel your feet a little bit closer. Let's say hip distance apart. Bent knees, halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Engage the back of your neck. And as you exhale, forward fold, grab the back of your calves and draw your nose into your shins. Let's do that 2 more times. Bent knees, halfway lift, engage your spine. And exhale, forward fold, draw your nose into your shins. Create compression, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 1 more time. Inhale, lengthen your spine, crown of your head extends forward. And exhale, fold and squeeze. We'll stay here for 2 extra breaths, because if you're like me and you've been eating a lot of food lately or drinking things maybe that aren't great for your digestive system, this is a great time to create compression from your belly to your thighs and give yourself a little detox. Good, and this time we'll ragdoll to rise. Stack vertebra upon vertebra until you come into a standing position. Good, and then just let your arms rest by your sides. And from my point of view, it looks like Taylor's head's getting cut off a little bit. Hopefully that's not your experience. But here we are anyway. You get the general gist of our practice. Let's stand with feet hip distance apart. Close your eyes, turn your palms forward, and spread your fingertips wide. I want you to take up a little bit more space than you are right now. And just begin to feel your breath entering every corner of your body, out to your fingertips, out to your toes. Scan your body and see if you can relax any unnecessary tension. Breathe here. Full breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, swan dive down. Reach out to the sides of the room. Bend your knees as you draw your nose into your shins. Halfway lift, bent knees. Reach the crown of your head forward, tailbone backwards. Exhale, forward fold. Draw your nose into your shins. Tight squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Inhale, up to mountain. Sweep your arms up and overhead. Right back into the swan dive. Exhale, lead with your heart. Hinge from your hips. Bend your knees. Draw nose into shins. Halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Crown of your head extends. And exhale, forward fold. Draw your nose into your shins. Tight squeeze. Last round. Inhale, mountain. Sweep your arms up and overhead. Reach, reach. And exhale, swan dive down. Lead with your heart. Draw your nose into your shins. This time, find a halfway lift. Lengthen your spine. We'll play in hands and step back to high plank pose. Don't worry, everyone. This is the only high plank of our practice. But you know, there was a record that was just broken for 8 hours and I think 26 minutes, broken by a 70-year-old gentleman. Anyway, so 20 seconds here isn't going to hurt us. This is a great time to embrace a little bit of discomfort and strength in our bodies. Beautiful. With your next inhale, shift forward and exhale, slowly lower to the floor. If you want to drop your knees, go for it. We're setting up super cobra variation. Now, this is a little bit trickier, so I'm going to spin around to the front of the camera. You're going to want your hands a little bit wider than shoulder width distance, and you want your fingertips on the floor, palms off of the mat. Now, do your best to stack elbows on top of your wrists as you press down into the floor. Inhale, press your hands down and lift your gaze. Good. Shoulders roll down and back. Exhale, dip your right shoulder towards the floor. Pull your left shoulder back. Gaze past your left shoulder towards the ceiling. Stay for 2 breaths. Go a little bit deeper. One more time. Fill your chest. Breathe all the way out. See if you can take the twist just a tiny bit further. Inhale, come back to center. Press your hands down. Shoulders roll back. And exhale, dip your left shoulder down. Right shoulder rolls back. Gaze past your right shoulder to the ceiling. Good. Stay for 2 full breaths. Fill your chest. Deepen your twist with the exhale. One more time. Fill your chest. And deepen your twist. Inhale back to center. Shoulders roll back. 1-time breath to movement. Exhale, dip your right shoulder down, left shoulder back. Gaze past your shoulder. Good. Inhale back to center. And exhale, dip left shoulder down, right shoulder back. Inhale, center, shoulders back. And exhale, return to the floor.
We're setting up open wing at this time. So reach your right arm all the way out to the right side of the room. And if you're at home and you've got a coffee table in the way, or maybe there's a child or a dog sitting next to you, go ahead and adjust yourself. Reach your right arm all the way out as far as you can, and then roll open to your right side body. You can kick your left leg around to the opposite side of the room. Now, at first, you might feel inclined to press your left hand into the floor, and that's good. We want a little bit of engagement to begin. But to make this a pose where we address the joint and the tendons and the ligaments, you guessed it, over time, we'll start to let our muscles relax. If you're wondering, well, what do I do with my left hand? It's just kind of hanging out like Ricky Bobby. What do I do with my hands? Bring your left hand around for your right trouser pocket. Just let it rest. Now, for a moment, send your attention to your chest and just notice what's going on here with the stretch. And if you're not consciously breathing currently, just notice how that is making the stretch feel. Now for just 4 breaths, fill your chest with as much air as you can and notice how the stretch changes. Exhale out of your chest. Inhale, fill your chest with as much air and as much healing light as you can. And with your exhale, breathe out of your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist, and your fingertips. Again, fill your chest with as much air as possible. Breathe out of your shoulder, elbow, wrist, and fingertips. Last round, fill your chest. Fill, fill, fill. Take an extra sip of air. Exhale out of your shoulder, elbow, wrist, and fingertips. Exhale all the way. Press, 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 press. Good. Come back to center. Gaze to the right side of the room and just let your hands rest by your hips for a moment. Both hands by your hips with your palms facing up. Part of the beauty of our yoga practice is noticing what each posture has an effect on the body. So just notice the difference between your left and your right side right now. And then let's move into the second side. Reach your left arm out to the left side of the room. And begin rolling open to your left side. Kick your right leg around to the left side of the room. And again, at first, a little bit of pressure into your right or left hand is okay, just to feel what that muscular activation is like. And bring your right hand behind your back for your left trouser pocket. With your next inhale, fill your chest with as much air as you can. Breathe out of your shoulder, wrist, and fingertips. Inhale, fill your chest. Breathe out of your shoulder, elbow, wrist, and fingertips. 3 more, fill your chest. Out of your shoulder, elbow, wrist, and fingertips. Last 2, fill. Out with your arm with your exhale. Last round, fill up. And breathe out. Roll back down to your belly. Press yourself back to embryo pose. Bring your knees and your feet together. Let your hands rest by your hips for a moment. Take your time. Let's take a moment to come back to the intention that we have set for our practice. It's easy sometimes to maybe forget that we had set an intention, or even if you've forgotten what that intention is, it's okay. Remember, this is just a practice.
We're not expected to be an expert on our physical practice, mental or emotional practice, because that's why we're all here practicing. So just come back to your intention. And if you can't remember what it was, set a new one. But be here for a reason. Inhale, lift your torso and spin your legs around to the front of the room. Set up a forward fold. If you have a hard time reaching your toes, you can always grab for an upward grip underneath your calves. I'm going to recommend pulling your booty out of the way. Grab your booty and pull your cheeks back towards the back of the room so that your sit bones can press into the floor. Beautiful. Now with your inhale, reach up towards the ceiling. Good. And with your exhale, hinge up and forward, up and forward. Again, Taylor's lucky enough to grab her feet. That's taken years of practice. But in the case that you have difficulty doing that, go for a grip underneath your calves. Wherever we are, we'll start by using a little bit of strength to find this forward fold. So a little bit of muscular engagement, but over time, I'm going to encourage you to let go and see just how powerful breath and time and gravity can be. Imagine that there is a green orb of light hovering at your tailbone. With your next inhale, let this green orb of light travel up your spine, vertebra by vertebra, to the top of your head. And with your exhale, let the green light travel back down to your tailbone and into the earth, removing any toxins or impurities from your spine. Inhale, let the green orb of light travel up your spine, vertebra by vertebra, to the top of your head. And exhale, green orb of light back down, vertebra by vertebra, to your tailbone, into the earth. Again, green orb of light travels up your spine. Let it attach to any negativity or any stale energy. And exhale, let it go back down out of your tailbone into the earth. Just 2 more breaths. Fill up. Take an extra sip of air. Let the green orb shine at the top of your head. And exhale all the way out. Try exhaling fully until there's no air left. Press, 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 press. Last breath. Inhale, fill. Take an extra 3 sips of air. Exhale, let the green orb go back down out of your tailbone into the earth. Slowly help yourself into a seated position. Close your eyes for a moment and just notice any effect that that posture or that visualization had on your body or your mind. One of my favorite forms of meditation is visualization, because if our mind is going wild, giving it something to do can be one of the best things instead of attempting to ask it to be quiet. Okay, now for the fun stuff, inner and outer hips. Ooh-wee. Go ahead and locate your blanket. If you don't have a blanket, then your mat will do just fine. We're setting up frog pose. We'll bring knees in, feet wide as possible. Let's have you facing towards the camera. That way I can show the angle of your hips. So go ahead and take your blanket and make sure that it's wide enough that your knees will be able to extend fully to the sides. So go ahead and unroll your blanket and just see if it'll be wide enough for you. Taylor can open, has pretty open hips here. So maybe we'll go for the full length. We'll see in just a moment.
So we have a blanket that is the length of the mat. If you don't have a blanket tonight, you can also just roll up your mat like a burrito, which sounds pretty good right about now. And you can use it this way. But ideally, we just want as much cushion for your knees as possible. That way we can relax into this pose and not hold any tension. So once you have made your adjustments, maybe make sure that the pillows are nearby too. Come in handy here. I'm just going to throw an extra one here in case Taylor wants it. So you'll notice that Taylor has brought her knees and ankles to 90-degree bends. We want for our toes to be facing the sides of the room and for knees and hips to be in the same line. So ideally, we're forming a right angle in angles and right angle in your knee crease. Knee and hip are in the same line. Bring your knees wide until you feel a stretch. For most of us, finding the stretch is not a hard thing to do. And if I were you, I wouldn't expect to get as low to the floor as Taylor is. But if you're wondering, what the heck do I do with my neck or my shoulders, try putting a pillow or two underneath your chest so that you have something to rest on. And if your neck is hanging off in space right now, maybe stack your fists and let your forehead rest on your fists. If you're lucky enough to have a bolster or pillow supporting your head, then send your gaze towards one side of the room. I'll let you know when we're halfway through so that we can switch our gaze to the opposite side. This is one of the largest, I should say, most prevalent surrender poses for us. Meaning we disengage our body in order to go deeper into the pose, which is the opposite of a warrior two, for example, or a cobra pose. Typically with those poses, the harder you try or the more muscular activation that you have, the deeper you get into the pose. But with this, it's the exact opposite. We're tuning into the aspect of surrender. And especially in times like these where a lot of us are staying home or there are external circumstances in our lives that we have little to no control over. What do we do in those times? Do we grasp for control? Do we try to make action? Or do we embrace what is happening and learn just to be with it? Not to attempt to change it or manipulate it in any way or create a story behind it. But rather just to notice the situation or whatever is existing in the moment and choosing just to be with it. Go ahead and turn your gaze to the opposite side of the room if you are looking towards one side. If you're wondering, oh my gosh, how much time is left? We're almost there, everyone. Just focus on your breath. I'm not going to tell you how much time left because you'll start counting the seconds. Maybe you won't, I'm just joking. Most of us live active lifestyles or efficient, fast-paced, kind of driven by this yang energy, this high energy. Oftentimes, though, the universe will throw us a situation where the only thing we can do is nothing. If you're like me, we try and fix and solve a problem or situations. Oftentimes, though, the best rule of action is inaction. Frog pose, the one that we're in right now, is like a dress rehearsal for those times in our lives.
There's no way to force this frog pose, because by doing so would only add more tension to our bodies. What happens to you when life hands you a situation where there's no action to make? Do you allow yourself to get chaotic or worried or create expectations around other people or circumstances? Do you just allow yourself to be with the moment and embrace any discomfort that might come up for you? Maybe choose to let that discomfort be a teacher. Yes, we have reached the end of this posture. So when you feel ready, start to raise up to your forearms, scoot your belly forward a couple inches, straighten your legs out behind you. In case you didn't hear Taylor, she said, good. Straighten your legs out behind you. And if it feels natural to sit back into child's pose, that's usually where I like to go. Just take your time, everyone. We'll spend the next 30 seconds or so just kind of rolling around here, maybe staying still if that suits you. Frog pose is a good one. When you feel ready, let's make our way down to our back. You can move props off to the side. To finish off our practice, we'll go through a round of bridge pose and supine twist. So set up for bridge pose, bring a bend into your knees, make sure that your knees and feet are hip distance apart and that your middle fingers can graze the back of your heels. Generally, that's the correct distance. As you're ready, inhale, lift your hips off of the floor. We're only holding for 6 breaths, but if you feel inclined to draw hands together behind your back and interlace your hands, go for that now. And how deep you approach this pose is up to you. If you want to lift as high as you can, or maybe your body is really asking for a full wheel right now, go for it. It's maybe not what I would recommend, but you know your body better than I do. So just follow the sensation and do what feels best to you. I will recommend that you stay light in the grip with your toes and press into the four corners of your feet. Just take 2 more breaths. If you want to go higher, then go higher. Now, this letting go is the most important part, in my opinion. So we'll start to lower our spine down, starting with the top 3 vertebrae, and then move to the next 3 vertebrae. Lift your heels and roll to the next 3 vertebrae, to the next 3, then all the way down to the floor. Maybe stillness or maybe movement is calling you. Do what feels natural. Inhale, take a stretch for the front and back of the room like you're just waking up. And exhale, hug your knees into your chest, give yourself a gentle squeeze. Bump your hips to the right side of the room and drop your knees to the left. We're just here for 5 breaths. Fill your chest with as much air as you can. Breathe out of your belly, exhale. Chest breath in. Belly breath out. Last 3, fill your chest. Take an extra sip of air at the top. Exhale out of your belly. Press fully out. Press, 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 press. Last 2, fill your chest. 2 sips of air. All the way out, exhale. Press until there's nothing left. Press, 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 press. Last round, fill your chest. 3 sips of air. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale all the way out. Press until there's nothing left. Press, wring yourself out like you're wringing out a sponge. Press, 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 press. And inhale, bring your gaze and your legs back to center of the room. Counter stretch if there's anything that your body wants to do. Go for it now. See a few people with socks on. I hope that your feet are staying warm. I see you, David. Let's go into the second side. We'll bump our hips to the left and drop your knees over to the right. Now, for a moment, without changing your breath, just notice it. Notice how the depth of your breath is linked to the depth of the sensation in your body. Inhale, fill your chest as deep as you can, and notice how the sensation changes. And exhale out of your belly. Pull your belly button towards your spine. Press, 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 press. Again, fill your chest as deep as you can. Fill, 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 fill. Exhale out of your belly. Press until there's nothing left. All the way out. Inhale, fill. Extra sip of air at the top. All the way out, exhale. Last 2, fill up. 2 sips of air. All the way out. Last round, fill up. 3 sips of air, fill. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale all the way out. Press until there's nothing left. Press, 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 press. And inhale, bring your gaze and your legs back to center of the room. If there is anything else that you would like to do before bringing our practice to a close, go ahead and find that right meow. There is no rush, but when you feel ready for Shavasana, we'll go ahead and set up the most comfy Shavasana that you can. Maybe you want to cover up with the blanket nearby, maybe put a pillow under your head or under your knees. Maybe turn the lights down. Let's take 3 cleansing breaths. And just allow yourself to absorb the benefits of your practice. With each exhale, allow your body to get just a little bit heavier. Yogis, we will continue laying down for the next minute or two. Bring your attention to the rise and fall of your belly and your chest. And I'd like to share a quick story many of you have heard before. It is the story of two wolves. An old Cherokee chief is teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside of me, he said. It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, false pride, superiority, self-doubt, and ego. The other wolf is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside of you and inside of every other person too. The grandson then asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" The chief simply replied, "The one you feed." In these times of hardship or difficulty or change, we can choose to look at all of the hardships or look at all of the things that are holding us back from our daily routine. Or we can choose to look at this as an opportunity to live differently. I'm not endorsing that this is a good thing that's happening to us, but it is a thing, and how we have our perspective of it determines how we will grow from it. By joining us for our practice tonight, or by watching this on YouTube later, you are embracing this opportunity for change that life has handed us. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. If you want more time in Shavasana, you are more than welcome to. If you're ready to begin moving out, start by deepening your breath and bringing gentle movement into your fingertips and toes, into your hands and feet, arms and legs. And take a stretch for the front and back of the room. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a gentle squeeze. Thank your body for all of the hard work that it does. Thank your digestive system. Thank your immune system. Thank your limbs for carrying you through your day-to-day life. Thank your lungs for being able to breathe. And let's roll into a fetal position on either side of your body, right or left. Take a cleansing breath. Find your way into a seated position, maybe maintaining eyes closed. I'd like to lead you through a quick meditation here. Let the back of your hands rest on your knees or your thighs. Find the most comfortable seat to you. It doesn't have to be cross-legged. Sit tall, relax your neck and your shoulders. Turn your palms up. Imagine that you are sitting on the bank of a river. You can feel the grass beneath you, the sound of the stream as it passes by, and the warmth of the sun as it heats the top of your head, your neck, and your shoulders. Bring your attention to the stream and notice if there are any leaves floating down the stream. Our thoughts come in the form of leaves. Any thoughts that you might have, whether it be very few thoughts or very many, just allow these thoughts to float down the stream. Instead of attempting to redirect the leaves or create a story about where they came from or where they're going, just allow each leaf to be acknowledged and let it pass. Softly blink your eyes open. On behalf of Soul 19, Taylor and myself, Tim and Matt, and the rest of the crew that will be with you for the next few weeks filming live classes, we appreciate you joining us tonight. We appreciate you making time for your mind and your body. It is not only you that will feel the effects of your practice, but everyone that you come into contact with. So I hope in some way you are able to carry something from this practice off of your mat with you and into the rest of your daily routine, whatever that might look or feel like. We will be posting these, I believe, to YouTube. So if you want to come back to this practice, if you enjoyed it, look for it on YouTube, I believe, tomorrow. If you have any questions or feedback, it is always appreciated. Taylor, do you have anything for it?
A sleepy no. Just stay tuned, and we'll keep some videos live streaming through Mind Body. You can sign up 30 minutes ahead of time, and we'll make sure you're with us when we start.
There you have it, people. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. The light in the teacher within us bows and acknowledges the light and the teachers within each of you. Namaste. Have a great rest of your evening. And if you want to chat with us, we are around and we would love to hear your feedback or any requests that you might have for practices. Love y'all.
Love you.